Notre Dame is set to play USC on Saturday in what could very possibly be the final time for the foreseeable future that those two teams tango, which would be a crying shame because for almost 100 years they have played every year with a few exceptions, COVID, World War II, chief among them. But more than that, this game could be one of the biggest games of the college football season because of the college football playoff implications. And that's why I love the expanded college football playoff, because in a 14 playoff, we don't give a damn about 4-2 Notre Dame versus 5-1 USC, because guess what? Neither of you are getting in. And that stinks because they could very well be two of the top 12, 15, 20 teams in the country, and we wouldn't be talking about them. But because the college football playoff is expanded, we are. Furthermore, it is becoming and has become one of the biggest games of deciding who will and won't make the college football playoff, because this is kind of last hurrah for Notre Dame. There are not many opportunities to create impact with impressive and important victories from here on out. Those opportunities just do not present themselves throughout the rest of the Fighting Irish schedule. Boston College, Navy, Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford, after this weekend, is not murderer's row by any stretch of the imagination. It just is not going. Nobody's going to look at that playoff resume and go, wow, they won a 4-game stretch of at Boston College, Navy, at Pitt, Syracuse. Impressive. And without a win over USC, who is probably likely to fall out of the top 25 should they lose, for the record, Notre Dame's biggest win on their college football playoff resume is not a win at all. Their win is we lost by 4 points combined to the number 2 team in the country and the number 5 team in the country, which isn't a horrible resume, by the way, but I have pounded the table in the past of I don't care, for the most part, about who you lost to. Tell me who you beat. Who did you beat that should make me go, oh, damn? Purdue, Arkansas, NC State, Pitt, Syracuse, don't do much for you. Boise State, in other years, yeah, that would look like a fine win. This year, USC is the last crack that Notre Dame has of any salvage of their college football playoff hopes, which are already somewhat thin to begin with. Furthermore, they lose that one. They go to 4-3. You're staring a 9-3 season in the face, which is fine. And with the way CJ Carr has played a quarterback, the future is bright. Make no mistake about it. They should be thrilled about what that future looks like. But the future could be now with a win over the Trojans at home. Furthermore, for USC, they don't have much to really be super excited for if they can't beat Notre Dame. They get a bye week, then they play at Nebraska, which if they can't beat Notre Dame, I don't know that you feel super great that you're going to beat the Cornhuskers. They still also have to play at Oregon later in the season. I think USC can lose one more game and still be in college football playoff contention, discussion, whatever word you would like to use. They can lose one more because they've got a win over Michigan. I'm here to tell you they probably wish they could have Illinois back. I'm certain that 6-0 USC is not the 20th ranked team in the country. 6-0 USC is the 7th ranked team in the country. But they're not, so they're not. They need Illinois to keep winning to make that loss look better, and they can stub their toe, I think, one more time, because if they can beat Notre Dame and Nebraska or fall to Oregon, whatever the case may be, they can afford to go 2-1 in that stretch, because wins over Notre Dame and Oregon are going to look really good. Wins over Nebraska and Notre Dame are going to look really good. You got to have two of the three to have any real shot, because otherwise your resume looks like, oh, we lost to Illinois, Notre Dame, and Oregon. Yes, we're 9-3, but they're three very good teams. Isn't going to get it done for you. And you got to start collecting data points on your college football playoff resume. Games like this one matter. And so USC at Notre Dame on Saturday becomes one of the biggest games that affects the outcome and the eventual teams that will make the college football playoff. And that's a really, really, really big deal, coupled with the fact it's the 20-year anniversary of the Bush push, which is absolutely a push. You can't argue otherwise, USC fans. But perhaps the final time that these two teams will play for a while. Now, I don't believe that this is going to be the final time, strictly from if they don't play each other the next year, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. First of all, I don't buy, but from a scheduling standpoint, they both would have two openings in their non-conference schedule for next year. And what's the nice way? Screw it. They're both insanely pretentious about who they do and don't play. USC does not play FCS programs. We are above that. Cool. Notre Dame is also not real interested in playing FCS programs. That's just not something that's high on their list. And when you have two games to schedule for next year, if you don't end up playing each other, it makes playing each other look real pretty, don't it? Now, I think that there is there might be a situation where on Saturday, before the game is announced, hey, by the way, we're going to continue the rivalry. Notre Dame wants to play USC. USC wants to play Notre Dame. We've figured out a way to do it. There are reports that Netflix has said, hey, can we figure out a way that we can continue this series and it happen on Netflix instead of NBC or Fox, CBS, NBC in the future? I think USC has a poor read on what their contract with the Big Ten states, because they're trying to say, well, if we play it at a neutral site, we can play it on Netflix. Well, if USC is the home team, no, they can't. And Notre Dame is saying, well, if we play it at a neutral site, we can play it on Netflix. Well, Notre Dame, if you're the home team, it's got to be on NBC, because that's how contracted those entities give you a boatload of money. That's how that works. But I think that speaks to the level of this game, because Netflix wants to Netflixize it. It wants to turn it into an event rather than strictly oh, by the way, we broadcast one college football game a year. Yeah, it's between two schools. One's in Nowheresville, Indiana, and the other's in Los Angeles. That's not what this is. This is USC and Notre Dame, two of the most storied programs in the history of the sport, who have continually played one another for almost 100 years, barring the COVID-19 pandemic and World War II, two relatively sizable events that would lead you to believe that it's okay to not play this game for a hot second. But otherwise, this kind of is college football at its core. Two teams who have really no business playing one another, that have grown the fact that they play damn near every year into a somewhat heated rivalry, despite the lack of proximity to one another, despite they don't share religious affiliation. It's just football, baby. It is, I don't like you because I dislike the laundry that you wear. And when we can be in that spot, it makes the sport fun and interesting, because there's no rhyme, reason, logic to why you hate the other team. You just do. And that should be what college football is about at its core. So I want to see Notre Dame and USC continue to play. I think we will continue to see Notre Dame and USC play. I wonder if USC says to Notre Dame, hey, let's get in a situation where We come to you, you come to us, and we are your designated Shamrock Series opponent, where if you want to play in New Orleans or Dallas or Las Vegas or Seattle, Washington, D.C., New York, Baltimore, Boston, wherever the world you want to play, Nashville, by God, we are willing to be your partner in that, because this is big enough and bigger than both of us to have that kind of cachet around this series. It should be that people are looking forward to USC versus Notre Dame in the fall. I think that should be something that we want as college football fans. So I think we're going to find a way to, I think they're going to find a way. We're not going to find a way. They're going to find a way to keep this game going. With that being said, going into the game, this is the last time that they're going to do this for certain, which just makes it that much bigger of a deal, all things considered, outside of the college football playoff implications. Should be a fun one. I'll take the Irish. Not by a lot. I think you're in for a really good game on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to it. Want to know your thoughts below? Send me your score predictions in the comments. Drop them. Let's see who's right, who's closest for Notre Dame USC. Tell me who you think is going to win, what the score is going to be in the comments below. That'll do it for today's episode of the Daily Huddle. I appreciate you making us a part of your day, however it is, wherever it is you're doing so. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you get all the great college football content we're pumping out. If you are listening on the podcast feed, drop a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out the channel. I'll see you tomorrow for another episode of the Daily Huddle.